Good afternoon, I'm Grace Williams. Here are your headlines at 3:30. 100 years on from the end of the First World War, how the city is remembering those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Lending a hand, why hundreds of volunteers are going the extra mile for Southampton's only independent bookstore. And Happy Halloween, find out how 60,000 people from Southampton have been preparing to celebrate.
And join me live at Sunnyfields Farm near Tottenham, where we'll be finding out how 60,000 people have been preparing for the spookiest night of the year.
Almost 2,500 servicemen and women across Southampton lost their lives in World War I, and from tomorrow those people will be remembered through a special project to mark 100 years since the end of the Great War. 17 life-size silhouettes are being placed in and around the city to represent those who never returned from war. Ellie Scott reports.
This is just one of the 17 silhouettes that have been placed around the city. The Royal British Legion and Southampton City Council have worked together on this project to say thank you to the First World War generation who served, sacrificed, rebuilt and changed the nation.
So we've got a Tommy, who represents the Army, a sailor for the Navy and an airman for the RAF/Royal Flying Corps that was during the First World War. We've also got a Commonwealth soldier. Again, when we look back at what we're celebrating today, the Commonwealth supplied thousands and thousands of troops to help support the war effort, and it helps to make our rich, vibrant, multicultural society that we have here today.
During the First World War, Southampton Docks became the #1 military embarkation port. Troops marched through the town on their way to the trenches, many never to return.
Southampton played a major role during the First World War. Southampton Common, for instance, was used to house troops while they were encamped waiting to embark upon ships to go across to the continent to fight. It played that major role. It's important that people are aware of what that role was within the First World War.
Some popular places where the silhouettes will be placed include Bargate, near the Centre Path, and Portswood Recreational Ground. The Royal British Legion and Southampton City Council hope the silhouettes will make younger generations aware of the efforts and sacrifices the servicemen and women made during the First World War. They hope it will make the public wear their poppies with pride this Remembrance Day.
Ellie Scott reporting there. A couple are being questioned following reports a vulnerable man had been kept as a slave in a shed in Chilworth for 4 years, with no flushing toilet or heating. The man and woman are being held on suspicion of modern slavery offences after the Polish man had claimed he'd been forced to work in exchange for food and a bed within the shed. Do you recognise this woman? Hampshire Police would like to speak to her as part of an investigation into a robbery at Southampton Old Cemetery. A 61-year-old woman in the cemetery was approached from behind by a man and her handbag was pulled from her shoulder on Monday the 8th of October. Every year, Southampton City Council repairs on average 5,000 potholes across the city. But now, new technology involving road scanners will send the data back to the highways team to prevent future potholes and could help detect problems with the city's road before any damage is caused. October Books, the non-profit bookstore, is just days away from their new opening after raising over £360,000 to take over the old NatWest branch. 200 members of the community in Portswood formed a human chain to move thousands of books from the old store to the new one. Katie Woodcock was there.
Local bookshop October Books is in the process of moving to the old NatWest Bank building down Portswood Road. Last Sunday, a human chain event was held by event organiser Annabelle, where over 200 members of the local community came down to help move the books from the stockroom of the shop. The organisers were only expecting around 150 people. Residents walking down the street even stopped to join in the chain despite not knowing what was happening. To help with the freezing cold conditions, helpers were offering free food and drink for volunteers. Some even broke into a sing-along whilst passing the books down from one hand to another.
So why have you helped out at October Books today?
Oh, because I think October Books is a really special shop, a really special thing for Southampton. I've lived here for a long time, and October Books has always been part of the scene.
The huge turnout, which involved people from all generations, meant that the move happened in just over 90 minutes. It happened so quickly that no one knew the last book had left the old shop.
I think it's been more than we thought, and the response has just been overwhelming. We knew we needed around 150 people. We certainly had more than that today, and I mean not just today. I mean the support we've had volunteering, helping us paint and decorate and do other things. It's been quite amazing.
All that's left to do now is paint the inside of the new shop and move the rest of the books to their new home. If all plans go well, the new store will be opening this Saturday, the 3rd of November.
New green fuel buses are being introduced by Southampton bus operator Blue Star. The £7 million investment means 32 new British-built buses will replace Southampton's university existing Uni-Link buses. They'll be fitted with the latest low-emission engines, the newest and cleanest standard for diesel. Firefighters in Southampton have been giving residents advice on how to stay safe this Halloween and bonfire night. St Mary's Fire Station has told people to use LED candles and pumpkins instead of real ones, and to check costumes for a fire-resistant label, as cheaper outfits are more likely to be counterfeit. Around 60,000 people has visited Sunny Fields Farm in Tottenham for this year's Halloween festival. They're able to pick, carve and even eat their own pumpkins. Amy Barnes spoke to farmer Ian, who runs the farm.
So I'm live here at Sunny Fields Farm near Tottenham with Pump Ian. Now Ian, how many years have you been doing this?
This is our 3rd year this year, coming to an end today.
It's been a good year?
Yeah, crazy year. Difficult year growing pumpkins because it was so hot in May and June, but the marketplace for pumpkins and carving pumpkins and Halloween in general is just growing and growing.
So how long ahead do you have to start thinking about sewing pumpkins?
Well, I'm thinking already. I mean, we're excited because we've had such a good event, so I'm already thinking about different pumpkins to grow, white ones, knobbly ones, and just how we can keep more and more people coming through.
So any plans for next year?
Yeah, I mean, this year probably 40,000 visitors. We'd love to grow the numbers of people coming in. We're looking potentially at trying to set a world record for the most number of scarecrows in one place. That record stands at 4,700, so watch the space for that.
Perfect. Well, I'm looking forward to that. I will definitely be coming next year. And if you don't mind me, we're off to carve a new pumpkin.
Thanks, Amy. Saints faced the daunting prospect of a trip to the Premier League champions on Sunday. The players were booed off the pitch after Saturday's stalemate against the bottom of the league, Newcastle United. Fans were hoping that Tuesday's night's 4th round EFL Cup fixture away to Leicester City could have kick-started the game for their season. However, the game was postponed after the death of Leicester City chairman. Alex Daniel has more.
Thanks, Grace. Could it be a case that Saints fans' current expectations are too high? Traditionally, Saints have always been an established mid-table club with the occasional relegation fight towards the end of the 1990s. After successfully managing to progress from -10 points, bottom of League One, at the start of the 2009-10 season, to then finishing 6th place in the Premier League just 2 years ago. Fast forward to more recent times, and this is where the club sat in the table at this stage of last season. You can see that they were a solid 10th place with 13 points after 10 games played. We all know how that panned out though. The club struggled to get any real form going, which resulted in manager Mauricio Pellegrino getting sacked in March. Compare that to this season, the 2018-19 table, and you will see that they are down in 16th place with just 7 points, heaping the pressure on current manager Mark Hughes. If current form is anything to go by, it is looking highly likely that the club will find themselves dragged into another relegation battle this season, a scenario that fans will be all too familiar with after last season's great escape.
Thanks, Alex. That's all from us for today. You can find all of our stories and more online. Head to solentjournalism.co.uk. Have a great evening.